You know, those Cowboys, they continue their training camp without contract extensions so far done with Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. And speaking of Dak, you know, Troy Aikman, he was on the Pat McAfee show, gave his thoughts about what not getting a contract done with Dak could mean for the boys.
I do believe he's going to be the first quarterback to $60 million. And
from Jerry or somewhere else?
Well, that's the question. And the longer this goes, the more I think he will be playing somewhere else.
Interesting. And you know Troy knows. So, Courtney, you think after this season is over, Cowboys move on from Dak Prescott?
I look at this as two different sets of cards. Dak Prescott's got all of them. He's got every hand that you want to play, and the Dallas Cowboys are making a serious gamble here the longer that they let this thing play out. Should Dak want to move on from the Cowboys? Dak should want to play for a place that is football first, focused on winning a championship, and not this entertainment conglomerate that the Dallas Cowboys, your team, BC, has become. And the more I think about the timing of this and what he needs to do in order to get that $60 million figure that has been thrown out there as the amount that he's going to surpass, why not let it play out? Why not try to control the market and not give in to anything that the Dallas Cowboys might throw on the table here, maybe a pity offer towards the end of training camp, towards the regular season, because he is going to reset this market in a way that we've never seen. Why would you try to settle for a deal now with the Dallas Cowboys when it could be the Raiders? It could be the New Orleans Saints. Waiting till next year, getting to a point where you can call the shots the way that he has been doing through all of his non-moves this offseason, that's the best play for Dak Prescott. Now, the other side of that, as you know well as a Cowboys fan, this isn't exactly a grass is always greener situation. We know about the Troy Aikman to Tony Romo years of quarterback futility. They shouldn't be going about this in a way thinking, oh, well, we can just replace Dak Prescott. We can move on from him. We can get his replacement in the way that they're thinking, which is very clearly like, go show us you can take us past a divisional round. It doesn't always work like that. So the way that Dak Prescott plays this is very, like, honestly, if you don't play this thinking about next year and beyond and resetting the market, then that is the wrong way to go about it.
You know, Kev, we already heard Dak say this week, hey, look, the money's out there. A deal can be done. I believe that the money's out there. But we also already heard Jerry say, I'm all in. And now we know all in means I'm all in. I need you guys to be all in. And that means if you're playing on your last year of your contract means being all in, that's what it means.
The all-in thing is a symptom of the Jerry Jones of it all, which is he just says stuff because he likes talking. and you know, you see it at the owners' meetings where he'll do 4 press conferences in an hour, 4 different press conferences. So I'm not really in the business of saying, oh, Jerry said this, that means this. Even his comments the other day where he said he doesn't really have an update, that could mean any number of things. To me, Dak Prescott's about to have more leverage than any player in the history of football. He knows that. The Cowboys know that. The Cowboys know he would not accept the Jordan Love contract right now. He may not even accept a $60 million a year contract because I think he's going to blow past that number and get 62, 63, maybe at minimum. We've never seen a top 10 quarterback on the open market. It's never happened. If Mahomes entered the open market ever, he would own a franchise at the end of it. Dak's going to end up splitting the difference, get a few $100 million, get more money than any quarterback probably has in the history of the sport, and I think everybody seems to know that. They're going to enter a season knowing that, having it unsettled. And by the way, what have the Cowboys done to earn a team-friendly deal? It hasn't really maximized anything with Dak. Mike McCarthy is not a top half of the league coach, in my opinion. The weapons are not there. CeeDee Lamb is the only guy he really has to throw to that's any good, and he's not even under contract going forward. So I just think that there's just a lot here. And I worry a lot about the future of the Cowboys after this year because this is what happens when you don't handle your business.
So Jerry's certainly not getting any younger, Bigwood. And you look at it, and listen, I love Dak. You know that. I love Dak. But since you talk about career postseason, 2-5 record, I think the QBR is at 67, 18 touchdowns, 7 turnovers. And I think that's what Jerry is looking at and saying, you know what, let me see what he's going to do this time. Let me see what he's going to do this year, and especially in the postseason. Do they move on, you think, after the season?
You know, another stat I want to throw out to you, 32nd. Dallas Cowboys as far as spending. 32nd, dead last in the league. They don't supplement their homegrown talent. No one can dispute that the Dallas Cowboys They draft and they develop well.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem. That's part of the problem that they have right now because they've done such a great job of that. But if you want to take the next step, if you want to be the elite of the elite, you got to be able to supplement the talent that you have in order for you to give yourself an opportunity to go win a championship. Prime example, look at the San Francisco 49ers. They go out, what do they go? They go out and trade for Christian McCaffrey. Look what Christian McCaffrey has done for this San Francisco 49ers organization since he came over in that trade with the Carolina Panthers. Look at what the Philadelphia Eagles have done with Saquon Barkley. What has the Dallas Cowboys done as far as moves to equal the two examples that I've given you? So
there's a million examples on both those teams.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown, Trent Williams.
It's so many examples. And so if I'm Dak Prescott, it's just like I might have hidden my ceiling as far as where I can go with this team, because the other teams in my same conference, they are aggressive, keep making moves. So maybe with all this leverage, I need to look elsewhere to see if I can break through this ceiling, because the Dallas Cowboys clearly aren't doing that.
If this is an all-in year for them, and that's the mindset that Jerry's taking on, maybe Dak's viewing it the same way, of waiting this thing out. Maybe he doesn't want to be there. I know what he's talked about, like with the Dallas Cowboys, that he said, I want to be here. So I'm not putting that out there as like anything, a different quote. But maybe he's really thinking, maybe I got to see them prove it to me first.
Or at least see what the market says to force their hand. Business 101, you don't get the early bird special late. And it is way too late in the game. If you have a franchise quarterback that you know can win a Super Bowl, you don't let it fester this long, because the mistake that the Dallas Cowboys made was in the previous negotiation, where actually you let Dak Prescott get hurt, because that's the number one fear of anybody going to free agency is you're going to get hurt and not get your money. Worst case scenario now, let's say there is some catastrophic injury like we've never seen where he can't play. He ends really, really rich. In every other scenario, he ends even more rich because he got hurt and he still got paid. You've now shown him the boogeyman isn't real. Now he is well within his right to wait the free agency and say, somebody's going to pay me the money that I want.
You know, that's interesting because I was there when the triplets, that era was in. I was there in Dallas covering this team. And then you look at the quarterback after Troy, you know, he had the concussions and things of that nature, and they had to let him go. You had an aging Randall Cunningham. People forget about that. Clint Sterner, Vinny Testaverde, Quincy Carter, Chad Hutchinson, Drew Henson, Ryan Leaf, all of these guys, Tony Banks.
You can stop now. I think you're giving everybody PTSD.
Before you got to Tony Romo. And that's what I would say to Jerry Jones. You should have gotten that deal done now while it was in the 50s, because as you guys have talked about, if you go to the end of the season, he's definitely going to be in the $60 million.
There's no incentive for him to sign a deal right now. Like I don't even know why we even having this conversation about Dak Prescott trying to, you know, come into a deal with Dallas. That ship has sailed. Like, I'm literally months away from unrestricted free agency. That's what every player, regardless of sport, clamors for, is to be unrestricted, to see what the true market tells me what my value is. And I can tell you right now, we keep throwing out the 60. That's like the floor. Like, Dak Prescott's going to go, in my opinion, well above the $60 million mark, you know, resetting the quarterback mark for all these guys. So, listen, I think, Kev, you talked about it, and get like, C.J. Stroud, all those guys, they should be thanking Dak Prescott.
They are pumping their fists.
That's right. That's right.
He's going to the open market because he's about to change how quarterbacks are paid forever. And I think that it's going to come down to how Dak feels about the Cowboys. You mentioned it.
Yeah.
Like, if he wants to go to a place that's going to pay him the most money, which I think he should, because I just think that 27 teams have been to the conference championship game since the Cowboys have, okay? So it's not like this is some Super Bowl factory here. There's a lot of teams that Dak Prescott can take to a championship game or a divisional title game. And so I think if he's going to go someplace to the open bidder, the only thing keeping him away from a Tennessee, a Las Vegas, a Carolina if they get desperate, is not wanting to go to a rebuilding project. But in some cases, the Cowboys might be a rebuilding project.
Based off of that, Hawk, do you think Jerry Jones is saying, okay, you know what? Maybe I get the best Dak Prescott I've ever seen, because he wants that $60 million a year, and he knows he's going to get it if he puts up huge numbers for me. And maybe this is the season that gets me over the hump in the postseason.
That's just a dangerous game to play with a quarterback that's the caliber of Dak Prescott. I mean, that's the reality of it. And again, if you need that to motivate your quarterback, then maybe he's not the guy. I don't think that is the case with Dak. I think you've seen a version of Dak, and Woody talked about this, that has turned heel, that truly does not care what their opinion of him is. He doesn't care what the public's opinion of him is, and he's kind of washed himself of this notion that unless he wins the Super Bowl, he is not a successful quarterback. He is still striving for that, but he is like, you know what? I'm going to get my money. I'm going to reset the market for all the other quarterbacks, and I do believe that I am him. And the moment you're going to pay me, it's probably going to cripple your salary cap. Same with CD, same with Micah, in a way that this team that you're looking at is going to be the team that they're working with.
Okay, one-word answer. Based off of what you just said, Hawk, finish this sentence for me. The Cowboys Super Bowl window is what?
Being propped up by a Chili's baby back rib. They have a very, very small chance to make this happen, but it is now, absolutely.
Big Wood, the Super Bowl window is
closed.
Wow.
Slam shut.
Facade.
Ooh, a facade.
You've got 4 other teams in the NFC, 49ers, Lions, Green Bay Packers, and the Eagles that I would put ahead. I mean, the odds tell us what people think about the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl chances. They're 5th right now in the NFC. In all of this chaos that's going on around this team, deciding not to pay guys, deciding to control the market, or at least what they perceive that to be, what team have we seen have this much off-season drama? Outside of the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, and of course last year with Chris Jones getting him paid, that whole thing, the receiving core, whatever. It's still Patrick Mahomes. That's the reason they win a Super Bowl. Yeah. You have this many distractions. You can't tell me you are a serious team doing serious business and it being a serious Super Bowl contender.
That's pretty strong, huh? That's pretty strong.
They're a lesser team than they were last year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, listen, I could go, you know, they got questions on the offensive line. Who's running the football? Mm-hmm. Who's the number 2 wide receiver? New defensive coordinator. Like they, you know, we always talk about continuity. Okay, they got a lot of fluid parts on that roster right now.
But that's something that feeds into what the Cowboys are and have been for a couple of decades, which is they draft and develop like a Super Bowl team. They do nothing else like a Super Bowl team. That's why they cannot get over the hump. There's a massive difference between making the playoffs and winning a playoff game. And typically the Cowboys are on the wrong side of that because they don't augment the roster, as Damien Woody said. They don't go out and get the best coaching. They don't handle their business. They're not able to get the extra guy or two because of how they manage the cap. They only do one thing like Super Bowl champions, and that's the reason they get lapped by all those NFC teams.